BoRàk walks in, looking around for Captain Mazrin. Cap, what you drinking?
Mead, if they have any.
Captain Mazrin says as he puts his notebook down and looks up at the large man.
After Heinefall, I think we need to bolster the crew. I think there's profit to be gained in the conflicts.
Any idea who might build the crew? I certainly think we need a healer of sorts.
A healer would definitely benefit our crew. Also need to get an archer and heavy fighters.
And we will need supplies. The trip through the mist took a toll. Ballista bolts, ropes, and eggs. I'm tired of whatever we've been eating for breakfast.
Don't ask, don't tell, BoRàk shrugs. I'll check the shops, but can't promise anything.
Good. I'll speak with the harbor master and check to see if any outstanding bounties are for us.
With a wink.
That last run-in with the March Wardens might have caused a stir.
I can try and smooth anything over with the Wardens for us to have safe travels. If not, guess we could just have an all-out brawl. Laughing.
Easy, my friend. I was just gonna pay off a bounty if one existed. We'll just have to be careful who we raid now. The world has gotten a lot smaller, especially after the Hawk came to life.
Let's break skulls! And make the world a little bigger for our hunger for battle. Djinn strolls into the tavern after getting turned around twice on his way there. Captain, BoRàk, sorry I'm late. I got a little lost making my way here after glancing around town. Found a nice apothecary run by a woman who mentioned she ran into you before, Captain. No word on work yet, though. What are we drinking? Looks up and smiles.
Gin, beer, the usual. Fashionably late as always. An apothecary. She a healer of sorts?
BoRàk and I were just saying that we might need to do some recruiting after our expedition through the mist.
Recruiting and battles, whichever comes first. She mentioned she had some amount of skills of that nature. I believe she might fit a role on the crew quite well. Said she may join us here once she closes up shop. Gets a drink from the bar. What other roles are we looking to fill on the ship? A salty chill fills the tavern as a woman pushes open the door. She quickly closes it behind her and rubs her hands together and shakes the cold from them. Scanning the room, her gaze falls on a group boisterously sharing drinks around a table. Well, 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 if it isn't my favorite sky-faring captain.
Lady Runa.
He stands to greet her with a buzzed bow.
What brings you to this little piece of heaven?
Runa laughs and makes her way over to the table. If this is heaven, I count myself lucky that we serve different gods. Motioning to Djinn, I had the pleasure of doing business with your musician this afternoon, and he mentioned that you could be found at a tavern. After the events of the Miss, a familiar face would be a welcoming sight. Djinn nods politely. Glad you could make it. Got Cat watching the shop for you this evening? Nah, her shift for the day is done, Runa says in a matter-of-fact tone. She's sleeping somewhere in the greenhouse and keeping the chameleons in line. Mazrin looks at Runa questioningly, but says nothing about it.
A friendly face indeed. The world is certainly not how we left it.
Runa's face darkens with concern. She lowers her voice just so the people sitting at the table can hear. Is it true what they say about dragons? Have they returned?
Such is the rumor. But we haven't seen any, nor would I want to until the hawk is ready.
He cracks a mischievous grin.
We haven't figured out how to hunt them yet, and it's certainly an opportunity that the hawk could capitalize on. The hawk does run on air, but her crew doesn't.
We run on drinks and battles! Mazrin pats BoRàk on the shoulder.
We know you do, my friend, but not all are as hardy as you.
Runa turns to the other person at the table, to BoRàk. I don't think we've had the opportunity to meet yet. She extends her hand. Runa Harstad. I'm the proprietor of the apothecary in town. BoRàk the Bloody! That's quite a title. I'd be interested to hear the story of how you earned it. With a devilish grin. I'd rather show you. Picking up his axe. Captain? Runa takes a step back, wide-eyed. Djinn panics. BoRàk, there's no need for a fight tonight, friend. I will find you one as soon as I'm able, but tonight I believe we should simply drink and rest from our journey.
Easy, big guy.
Mazrin calmly pats the table, indicating for BoRàk to sit down. He says to Runa,
Let's just say he usually needs a bath after a fight. He is my red talon.
If I need head smashed.
He nods in BoRàk's direction, keeping an eye on BoRàk while nervously fiddling with the ring on her index finger. Well, That's not the way I choose to settle a score, but there is value of having someone unafraid of getting a bit dirty. Mazrin shrugs.
It's a pirate's life. Sometimes you just talk it out. Sometimes you sick a big, angry Viking at him.
A coin flashes into his hand, dances across his knuckles, and disappears.
I like having the adaptable option. Makes me a good pirate. Which is why you make a good fit for the crew as well.
We'll drink to that! Djinn! Drinks! I'd have a drink, but I'm also a bit curious how this plays out. Djinn sits back in his seat, paying close attention to Mazrin and Runa's conversation. Intrigued, Runa eyes Captain Mazrin. That's quite a proposition, and might require a drink. Skull! Pick your poison. I owe this lot a round of drinks anyway. Djinn starts to get up and move in the direction of the bar. Mead! I'll take one as well. The drier the better. How does one make a liquid dry? I'll see what I can do either way. Djinn retrieves drinks for the table. Mead for Runa and BoRàk, ale for Mazrin and himself. Make them last, I'm not getting next round. Many thanks, friend. Skull, brothers and sisters! Skull! Mazrin nods, thanks to Djinn, smiling at Runa's interest.
Skull!
Takes a large swig and looks at Runa.
I'm sure you have a few questions or concerns.
Runa takes a deep drink from her mug. Well, I'm not a fighter. I haven't seen much of the world. I don't have much experience on a ship. I suppose I'm curious as to what you see my role being. You heal? Runa turns towards BoRàk and surveys him with cautious curiosity. I have some skill in that area, yes? We'll have need of your healing ability. Runa nods. And the earnings, how are those divided?
Earnings are split. Let's say, on the fly.
Mazrin chuckles at the pun in poor taste. Runa shakes her head and gives a small chuckle. And I'm sure we can expect a fair amount of danger on this voyage. By the gods, I hope so. No one finds their way to Valhalla by sitting around a hearth and growing old. Fuckcom! Die in battle and ascend to Valhalla! From another table nearby, an unassuming figure cocks his head towards the captain's table. It doesn't take much to overhear your talk of danger and coin.
Both are common aspects of a pirate's life.
Mazrin says with a smile. I heard something about skyfaring as well. Interesting title for a pirate of the seas. Your ship must be quite fast, then? Djinn leans towards Mazrin to whisper, Was someone stealthy on your list of crew we were to be looking for? Runa takes a sip of her mead and quietly observes the conversation. Mazrin towards Djinn.
Yes, but I certainly wasn't expecting them to come to us.
To Silas.
Not of the sea, but of the sky. The hawk is not bound to the sea. But yes, she is the fastest way to travel the known world.
Interesting. I had heard of your ship coming into port. He gets up from the chair, nods to someone over by the bar, and approaches the table properly. Name's Silas. If you're looking for swords for your crew, turns out our priorities may have some crossover. Mazrin stands to greet him.
Captain Mazrin Tor, pirate and scoundrel.
Gestures around the table.
This is my red talon, BoRàk, and the great bard Djinn, and Runa Harstad, a friend.
And how might our priorities cross?
Runa's eyes follow Silas's gaze to the person at the bar. She tilts her head ever so slightly to better see them. Silas nods to everyone at the table. Let's just say my friends need information from a few far-off locations, and I need something fun to do. Oh, and coin wouldn't hurt.
Can you fight? If you want to join the crew, there are some rules.
Sure, when required, or when it seems an easier option to solve a problem. Silas fiddles with the handle of the longsword at his side. Fairly certain I saw you in the battlefields within the mist. Anyway, I have no issues with rules. I assume a pirate leans the same way I do around their flexibility.
A flurry of swords and curses thrown at this big guy.
Slaps BoRàk on the shoulder.
That was I. Fight for the highest bidder? Yeah, we do that.
Wanna go again?
I believe the current tally is 3-2 your favor, but we can spar a little back at the Hawk, depending on the new recruits.
Don't tempt me with a good time. Silas sits in the chair right next to BoRàk and scoots it closer to him. I would rather have you on my side of a battle, that's for sure. Or should we need to crash a masquerade ball, I know you have that lacy mask. It did suit you, after all. He winks.
That was thrown away very quickly.
Turning her attention back to her drink, Runa absentmindedly adds, sometimes a mask can be a valuable asset, even if it is simply made of lace.
I'll use the blood of my enemies as a mask.
I have no doubt you will, and have done in the past. Mazrin runs a hand down his face,
So what do you say?
looking at both Silas and Runa.
Want to come be a pirate, sail the skies, and see the world? Runa, you can bring your apothecary with you. We can set you up in your old cabin. Silas, you'll be hard to track and gather information for your,
Air quotes. Why not? Sounds like a good time. Count me in, Captain. Raises a flask.
Skull!
I suppose someone should come along to help patch you all up, Runa says with a laugh. What's the saying, Captain? Once a pirate, always a pirate?
It's a hard habit to break, and adventure is even more alluring. Djinn, assist Runa in collecting her things. She knows where her cabin is. Silas, meet me aboard the Hawk.
Patting BoRàk on the shoulder and handing him something heavy.
Go to the market, that strange fellow with the eye. Buy as many ballistas bolts as you can. Well, I think we're gonna need them.
I'll see what stores are nearby to collect the supplies.
Good. I'll see you all back at the Hawk.
Mazrin stands, finishing his drink with a belch, and lazily walks out the door and down the street, whistling an odd tune. Sure thing, Captain. Turning towards Runa. When you're ready, lead the way. I'm not great with directions this close to the ground. Runa drains the rest of her mug in an impressive gulp. Very well, I'll lead the way. Until then. Silas returns to the bar and begins a conversation with another person in low tones.